For centuries, humanity had been silent among the stars. They had built colonies, shared trade, and smiled politely at every alien ambassador who arrived to greet them. To the Galactic Union, humans were peaceful, emotional creatures who built art and laughter into everything they touched. They were clever but kind, strong but quiet, innocent enough to be underestimated, and that had been fine, until the day someone broke into their sanctuary. It began on a calm rotation above a small planet in the Orion Spur. A human research station floated there, called Haven 12, a place that hosted scientists, engineers, and farmers. There were no fleets nearby, no soldiers, only civilians studying agriculture and the planet's unusual ecosystem. The attackers arrived without warning. An armada of raiders, mercenaries from the outer reach, descended through the system. They were infamous for plundering weaker worlds and selling captives into slavery. They believed the humans were defenseless. After all, humanity had not fought a war in almost 300 years. The first missiles hit before the humans even had time to respond. The sky above Haven 12 turned bright as fire rained from orbit. The research domes shattered, sending shards of crystal and flame into the air. Men and women scrambled through the wreckage trying to reach evacuation pods, but most were destroyed. The raiders landed on the surface, armored in black exosuits, their faces hidden behind glowing visors. They laughed as they moved through the smoke, rounding up survivors. They expected begging. They expected fear. They did not expect silence. The surviving humans stood together, covered in ash, staring at the intruders without expression. One of the raiders shouted for them to kneel. No one moved. He fired a shot into the ground near their feet. Still no one moved. In orbit, the raider flagship broadcast a message across open channels. Planet secured. Humans subdued. Prepare for collection. That message was received by dozens of ships across the sector, including one vessel that should have never been awakened. It was called Aegis Prime, a long-forgotten dreadnought hidden deep within a nebula. Officially, it did not exist. It was a relic from an older age, an age when humans had been very different. The ship's artificial intelligence stirred for the first time in centuries as the distress signal reached it. Its sensors blinked alive, recognizing the human code embedded within the call. Inside the cold hull of Aegis Prime, deep chambers began to glow. Frozen cores hummed to life. Buried beneath layers of dust and silence, something ancient remembered what it had been built for. The sleeping war god was waking. Back on Haven 12, the raiders began loading prisoners into transports. They mocked their captives, speaking in their guttural tongue, calling them weak and slow. A young human researcher named Daniel looked at them with quiet fury. He did not speak. He only stared at the clouds where the stars had disappeared behind a faint ripple. The air trembled slightly, almost unnoticeable. The raiders didn't feel it, but the humans did. Something was coming. Far beyond the planet's orbit, space split open. A pulse of light rippled outward, silent but immense. The raiders' sensors went wild, detecting gravitational distortions and unknown energy spikes. The commander of the raider fleet barked orders, demanding a scan. Nothing came through, only static. Then from the void, Aegis Prime appeared. It was vast, larger than any ship in the Galactic Union's registry. Its hull shimmered like black glass, reflecting the distant sun in silent menace. It moved without thrusters, without sound, as if it glided through the vacuum by sheer will. Its weapons systems were dormant but radiated a quiet, terrible power. It was not a ship built for intimidation, it was built for extinction. The raider fleet panicked. No one had ever seen such a design. Their sensors could not read its energy signatures. Their commanders shouted across comms to identify it. No one could. The ship transmitted no code, no insignia, only one message across all frequencies. Human distress detected. Engaging defense protocol. The raiders fired first. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward Aegis Prime. Each one vanished the moment it touched its shields. Not exploded, vanished. As though swallowed by an invisible ocean. The dreadnought responded with a single beam. It was quiet, colorless, almost elegant. When it touched the lead ship of the raider armada, the vessel simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris, only emptiness where metal and life had once been. The raiders screamed. They tried to flee, turning their engines toward the outer edge of the system. But space itself seemed to warp around the dreadnought. Their ship slowed as if caught in unseen gravity wells. Their systems failed one by one. Aegis Prime drifted forward like a ghost. And then it spoke again. Sanctuary violated. Response authorized. From the dreadnought's flanks, small vessels detached, sleek, triangular craft that had slept alongside their master. Each one carried no pilot. They were the hands of the machine. They moved with surgical precision, striking each raider craft with beams that disabled engines but left life support intact. There was no rage in their attack, only purpose. On the surface of Haven 12, the raiders holding the prisoners suddenly froze as their weapons shut down. Every display went dark. Every suit locked. Then one by one they fell to their knees as their exosuits powered off completely. The humans stepped forward quietly. They did not cheer. They did not shout. They only watched as Aegis Prime's shadow passed across the burning sky, covering the horizon like a storm cloud. Within the dreadnought, deep inside the command core, a human figure stood. He was not alive in the ordinary sense. His body had long since faded, but his consciousness was part of the ship now. His name had been forgotten, but his purpose remained. He had sworn an oath centuries ago. Humanity would never again rise for conquest, but if ever attacked, the sleeping war gods would awaken. The AI's voice filled the chamber. Directive complete. Threat neutralized. Awaiting human command, but no command came. There was only the whisper of the void. Then, as if remembering something old and painful, the AI turned its attention toward the surviving humans below. Their vital signs flickered across its displays, frightened, wounded, but alive. It sent down rescue drones, silent and swift. They moved through the wreckage, lifting survivors gently into safety pods. The raiders were left unconscious on the ground. No one was killed unless they had fired. The dreadnought's code was clear. It was not built for slaughter. It was built for warning. Hours later, a patrol fleet from the Galactic Union arrived, having detected the energy surge. They were met by a sight that defied reason. An entire raider armada disabled and drifting, a planet scarred by fire yet still holding its people alive. And above it all, a single human ship, ancient, silent, and terrible. The Union's flagship hailed it immediately. "This is Captain Rian of the Galactic Union Peace Force. Identify yourself." There was a pause. Then the reply came, soft and calm. "Humanity identifies as dormant. Threat assessment complete. Return to your homes." The Union captain tried to question further, but the dreadnought vanished, not through faster-than-light travel as they knew it, simply gone, leaving no trace on any sensor. For weeks afterward, the galaxy was in chaos. Recordings of the event spread like wildfire. Images of Aegis Prime's appearance, the vanishing missiles, and the erased fleet became legends overnight. Every species began to ask the same question. If this was what humanity called a defense system, what were they truly capable of? The Galactic Council summoned human representatives to explain. The ambassador, an older woman with calm eyes, stood before hundreds of alien delegates. She listened to their fears, their accusations, their disbelief. Finally, she said softly, "We do not seek war. We only keep our promises." A voice from the crowd demanded, "Promises to whom?" She smiled sadly. "To ourselves, to what we once were." And with that, the truth began to spread across the stars. Long before peace, long before their soft laughter and open hands, humans had been something else entirely. They had been forged in endless conflict. They had survived apocalypses of their own making. When the rest of the galaxy was learning to travel between stars, humans were already learning how to destroy them. Then, after too much blood, they made a choice to bury that side of themselves. They sealed away their war gods inside machines like Aegis Prime and turned toward peace. They built art instead of weapons, music instead of fear, gardens instead of graves, and they slept. But when the sanctuary was broken, when innocence bled and the old signal was sent, the sleeping gods stirred again. The Union sent a delegation to Haven 12 to learn more. They found no traces of the dreadnought, only survivors who spoke quietly about the voice that saved them. When asked what it looked like, one of them replied, "It looked like our anger given shape. It looked like something we forgot we could be." Months passed. The raider groups vanished from nearby sectors. Some claimed they had seen black ships appear in the void whenever they approached human space, ships that watched silently before fading away. Others whispered that the dreadnought still waited, listening, sleeping once more. Humanity went on as if nothing had happened. They rebuilt Haven 12, planted new crops, and resumed research. But across the galaxy, no one dared touch them again. Every empire, every warlord, every ambitious general remembered the day someone had kicked the sanctuary door, and what had come out. Because now the galaxy understood something